Evening News.
Good evening, I am Ryan Broom with the Saturday, June 24th edition of the CBC Evening News. In our top story. Now, after marathon talks that lasted just over 5 hours last evening, Finance Minister Chris Sinclair says he is happy with the meeting he had with the island's union leaders at government headquarters. But while he is happy, the unions are not. Lisa Lloyd reports.
Finance Minister Chris Sinclair says government has kept its promise by meeting with the various stakeholders over the past few days to hear their concerns, and the unions have not been left out. The meeting with union leaders started around 3:30 and ended close to 9 last night. Describing the talks with union leaders as cordial, he said adjustments will be made where possible, and he is confident that all parties can move forward. He has, however, made it clear that the National Social Responsibility Levy will be implemented as announced.
Not with everybody being happy and everybody singing Kumbaya, because that's not going to happen. People are still going to be disaffected by it, but at least we know the purposes for this levy and for these increases. Protect our foreign exchange by constricting demand for it, increasing the level of government revenue coming in so that we could finance our deficit and finance the operations of government. So I think that to the extent that that is the case, we want to thank all Barbadians for their support, for their understanding and appreciation of the difficulties that we face.
During that meeting, which was also attended by Prime Minister Frundle Stewart, a commitment was given to restart public sector wage negotiations as soon as possible.
Of course, government's position was a zero increase. The unions were asking variably for anything above 10%, 15%, in some instances 20%. We agree that those negotiations should restart and that we should seek to arrive at the earliest opportunity on a negotiated settlement. There are both salary and non-salary negotiations are issues to be considered, and those we think should be expedited in light of some of the challenges which we currently face.
But General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, Tony Moore, was less than pleased. She says a considerable amount of time was spent exploring the impact the recent budgetary measures would have on the average Barbadian, most notably the increase in the NSRL. But she says a repeal or reduction of the levy have not been considered by Minister Sinclair.
That was rejected, and it was rejected with explanation that it would have to go back to Parliament, and once the minister gave his pronouncement on May the 30th, that in effect it became law. It is still our view that laws get amended every day. So we noted the response, but it's a response that the union still does not support, and of course it was another consideration given about the financial position of the country does not permit for any downward adjustment. We therefore remain concerned.
And President of the National Union of Public Workers, Akani McDowell, made it clear that the unions will do whatever is necessary to ensure their objectives are met.
The Minister and the Prime Minister gave they tried to give some kind of indication that they would try to expedite salary negotiations, and we appreciated that from their part. But nonetheless, there's a saying that goes, once the grass is growing, the horse is starving. So we needed something a little bit more immediate. Unfortunately, we were unable to get that, and therefore we might have to go back to the membership and see what is needed going forward.
Last evening's meeting follows 2 full days of discussions chaired by Mr. Sinclair with several private sector organizations earlier this week. Lisa Lord, CBC News.
Thanks, Lisa. Well, in other news, the First Citizens Cropover opening gala and ceremonial delivery of the last canes officially got underway at the King George V Park in St. Philip this afternoon. Hundreds of Barbadians descended on the event, which was shifted from the more familiar Bridgetown location. The event started about 2 in the afternoon as adults and children alike made their way around the park to check out some of the attractions on offer, including a special queue in the community and the Kids Zone. The sweet sounds of the Royal Barbados Police Force Band filled the air along with a school steel pan orchestra as food and drink vendors did a brisk trade, satisfying the hunger and thirst of the crowd on hand. It was just before 4 o'clock when the official parade moved off from the nearby Hilda Skeen Primary School and into the park. They made their way to the stage where the evening's entertainment officially got underway. Corporate communications specialist with the National Cultural Foundation, Simone Codrington, spoke to CBC News just as the events on the main stage were about to get started.
We're going to honor the stalwarts as we normally do for the opening gala, and we have for the first time this year our first 2 honorees for outstanding sugar workers. As you know, we would have honored the King and the Queen for how many years of the festival, and we've moved now to different honorees for the festival. Considering that the sugar industry has gone more mechanized, we're looking at other workers within the industry.
She says Cropover 2017 has been off to a positive start, and they're looking ahead with excitement to the rest of the season.
The events have been going good, well attended. The Junior Monarch was last weekend, the 10th, and we're looking forward to going down to the reading and also for the Junior Monarch semi-finals. Can't believe that we're almost there already, you know. But yes, the Cropover is in full swing. If people haven't realized it yet, we are in full swing and everything is going well.
So if you were unable to make it out today, you can still make your way to the King George V Park to be a part of the festivities. We'll have more news right after the break.
It only takes a second to change your reality. The car won't be the only one in the cemetery. Click in.
Starting June 25th on 100.7 QFM.
If you had to be in a position to vote yes or no.
Issues of the day.
You can't live in a society where you don't feel like you're part of the society.
Matters that concern you.
So we stop locking up people for having a split.
The conversations that are buzzing everywhere.
You need to bridge that disconnect between the haves and the have-nots.
Tune in to Walter Point 2, bringing clarity to national issues. Sundays 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. on 100.7 QFM with live viewing on CBC TV 8.
You've got to strive and believe you can achieve anything you put your mind to. Go the extra mile with good service. Be positive in your attitude. Rise and fly with the eagles.
My name is Margot Appley. I am a schoolme's assistant here at the Harbour Schoolme's Center, where we cater for over 8,000 children. I assure that I am productive by going across the board, not sticking only to one area, whether it be cooking, baking, or veg. Let's all be more productive citizens.
And so much to give, and we all live positive. And we would be
Welcome back. Well, the organizers of the Yellow Bashment Soccer competition are seeking to distance themselves from a walk-up competition with a similar name. Rudy Maloney of 4D Entertainment says people have been expressing concern about the type of dancing which will be on show.
People have been calling and asking. We have a lot of people Facebooking and messaging asking for information if we are associated with the event. And I just want to say that we are definitely not affiliated with that event. There's a lot of negative things about Bashment, and we are trying our best to make sure that we keep the competition clean and try to develop the art form.
The Yellow Bashment Soca competition is now in its second year. The first 6 finalists have already been named, and voting for the wildcard spot is set to end at midnight. While he's not opposed to the walk-up contest, Mr. Maloney says his company holds the legal rights to the Bashment Soca name.
Everybody has the right to do what they want to do. We don't want to govern, but we just want the organizers to know that Bashment Soca is a copyright also. We have a copyright. 4D Entertainment has a copyright, so you just have to be careful and do your research before you do any event.
Minister of Education Ronald Jones says he was pained by the constant broadcast of the images and video daily following the publicized fight involving Leicester Vaughan secondary school students. He admitted it was not easy to view what played out. According to Mr. Jones, the students were tried by the public, who view themselves as a judge, jury, and executioner. He also suggests that the situation is nothing new.
Some of you were here fought too, but there was no Polaroid instant camera that you had that cost too much money for most of us. So nobody recorded you, or the journalists, the bullies of the world. Nobody recorded them. And today they write stories with unmatched headlines. But then they can portray our children in the worst way. And then they get busy trying to find out who or what they are. A 13-year-old can only be a 13-year-old.
Just ahead, the day's top sporting action with Sean Green.